Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is an ELC AMX Biz, or AMX ELC Biz. It doesn't really matter which way round you say it, but of course if you say it one way they know you've been in the game a long time. If you say it the other, then they know you've probably been in the game a short time. Well, this is a tier 5 French light tank. It's located on the westbourne of Studzianki and it's under the command of heavy999. Now he's got the 75mm gun. I can tell straight away right at the start because it's a smaller gun than the 90mm, which this tank was actually properly armed with. Yes, because there's only a few ELCs in the world and it was never accepted into service with the French army, but it was mounting a 90mm gun and the turret would turn all the way around, but only when the vehicle was stationary, because otherwise the driver couldn't see where he was going. It was actually built originally as a tank destroyer, but the French put it into, or proposed it as a light tank. And you can see in the game it is a light tank, an air transportable light tank weighing only 8 tons. Now with the 75mm gun he's got a reload time of 3.73, the book time is 4.5, so he has reduced it a little. This is an encounter game on Studzianki, so the cap is right in the centre of the factory. Oh, he set the KV2 alight! And I'm sorry for that clicking noise. We still haven't been able to get rid of that problem with the mods that cause the clicking. And as a consequence, every time you do damage to a vehicle, you get a click. I've had it for some time now. Very difficult to get rid of. 110 hit points of damage there on the Super Chaffee. He's nicely hidden in this bush. He hasn't taken any damage from the enemy yet, but there is an enemy tank nearby. It's a VK3001D, which is, of course, as you know, one of the Panther prototypes. He's looking this way. And in fact, he's spotted a Churchill 7 over there. It's a tier 6 game with tier 5 tanks in it, so he is going to earn extra XP for all the high tier tanks he attacks. In fact, the more tanks he attacks that are high tier, the more XP he'll earn and the higher the category of game he'll get at the end. Now he's earned a spotter badge for spotting at least 1,000 hit points of damage so far, and that VK is ignoring the wood and actually going around the outside. And I think he's going after our Super Chaffee, so at this moment... Oh, heavy999's decided to come up behind the VK, so he's now fighting 2 tanks instead of 1. And with the 75mm turret being able to turn all the way round, he could easily attack that guy, but the Super Chaffee got the kill. There were 2 tanks in the ELC project that were built. It's the ELC Ever 90, which of course you may have seen just recently on our channel, is a 90mm armed light tank, air transportable, again weighing about 8 tons. It was built for the ELC program. And the AMX is the other one that was actually built. If you go to the French Tank Museum at Saumur, you can actually see both of them because they've got both examples in their halls, in their exhibits, and they are quite interesting tanks actually. They were so lightweight because they actually had very little armour indeed and a very light engine. They were supposed to be armed reconnaissance for the French troops if they were air transported into any colonial area, and so they can actually encounter and engage enemy tanks with a reasonable gun. Of course, the French wanted them armed with 90mm guns, but in the game, Wargaming have given this one a 75mm as well. And of course that is fairly recent because originally the 90mm is the main gun for this tank, as I said. And in fact actually the gun has a very narrow arc with the 90mm. Okay, so he's got his second kill. and he's found an M41 HMC. Nice, got one shot in, one more to kill. Yep, got the kill. That's the Pascucci's because he's just killed the Bishop, now he's killed the M41. There's only one Arty left, it's an M44, and he's looking this way, but I don't think he can see where heavy999 is. Oh, he can now. Somebody else saw him, and I think it's a IKV-103 to his right that he's missing because he's tunnel focusing. There he is, and he's looking this way. He puts one round in and moves immediately. He's got a Dimitri's, but that, yeah, the IKV just bounced a round off him, which is virtually unheard of. Very little armor on this little tank, but there you go, you've got the kill. There's only one enemy remaining. It's a T-52, and he's down somewhere in the south of the map. Now, will he return to protect his cap? Or is he going to stay where he is and try and fight it out? Heavy999's manoeuvring his way down south, threading his way through the trees, not to give away his position. And, oh, here's the T-52, who's up in the bushes. He fires around in, it hits the tracks. Can you get another shot in? Yes, nice. 96. Arty's trying to hit him as well now. Gets another penetration. Can he get the kill shot? Well, he needs 2 shots to do it. Oh, he almost rammed that guy, but that would have been fatal for both of them. And the T-52 finishes off heavy999. But he's virtually out of hit points, that guy. He won't last very long. I'll say the nearest tank to that T-52 is our OI. Well, we're looking at the cap now. It's a T-37 capping, and I wouldn't be surprised if the T-52 tries to make a run towards the cap to get a reset on that T-37, who's got very few hit points, almost as few, in fact actually fewer than the T-52. So this guy needs to stay in cover to avoid getting hit by that T-52, because he might try to go all the way up to the north and then across to the wood, and T-37's planted himself behind that building, which is indestructible. So even if the T-52 makes it to the wood, he's not going to be able to see him to get a reset unless he comes into the cap area. And in fact, actually, the T-52 didn't go to the north. He has been found by the BDR and taken out. And that is the end of the game. In the second game, we can see that heavy999 has now switched guns, and he's actually mounted the 19mm gun on this AMX ELC. The reason I know that is it's got a muzzle brake at the end, and the 75mm gun doesn't have one. So this is definitely the 19mm. 240 alpha on this gun, capable of penetrating 120mm with standard ammo, and with the premium rounds it'll go through 150mm of armour. It's a tier 7 game with tier 5 tanks in it. And well, he's rushing off towards the western pass straight away, and unfortunately ran into those brick walls, which has slowed him down somewhat. But I think he's actually trying to do a spotting job. So he's moving as close to the enemy as he dare, and I think he might try to hide in some of these bushes and get some shots on the enemy if they turn up. Wolverine's turned up. Puts a 90mm round into the Wolverine, gets a high roll for 244. I don't think the Wolverine wanted to go any further after he got hit, but that BDR is also being hit at the moment. It looks like he's being hit by the M4A1 FL10. There's a KV1 down there. He's just dialing in. It's a long time to dial in. Hit him in the tracks. The standard reload for the 90mm gun is 14 seconds. It is quite a big shell in a very small tank. Only a 2-seater tank, driver, and of course the commander, gunner, loader. So it does take a little while to load the shell. In fact, the turret on the ELC AMX can only actually turn between a narrow amount, I think it's about 10 degrees or 15 degrees either side. Or am I wrong? I think it's about 10 degrees either side. But in actual fact, they could turn all the way round, but only when the vehicle was stationary. Because if the turret turned all the way around when it was in the move, the driver wouldn't be able to see where he's going. And he gets a penetration, another penetration on the KV2, and one more shot should be able to take that guy. Possibly, no, it won't take him out of the game. Sorry. And he knocks down that building. He was seen. Ouch! That's the Wolverine getting revenge. And he's got the engine. The engine's up front in this thing. Takes out the Wolverine with one shot. He just couldn't see the guy. But the unfortunate thing is that now he's got to use his repair kit. Otherwise he won't be able to move about. And it is a large repair kit as well. Okay, he's fixed it. And he's back in the bush. Oh, but he's not staying there. This is interesting. Well, he's moved a long way forward and he can now see that M4A1 FL10, and in fact he can probably track the guy and or do damage. There's a Wolverine behind that building and he's picked up some spotting off that as well. The FL10's gone down. There's the Wolverine. You can just see the front of the vehicle. Tries a shot but he doesn't get a pen. It's definitely tracked that vehicle. Only the front of the vehicle and the Wolverine's gone. Okay, so we can move on. Now there's 3 Arty on the enemy team and there's bound to be one of them in grid square A1 or A2, and I think he's going to try and drive in there and see if he can spot them. And he's found one, the SU8. And he doesn't need to go the whole way in. All he needs to do is sit here. And the SU8 knows he's been seen. But he can't do anything about it because there's nowhere for him to run. And he dies. Now there might be another one in there. He spotted a Valiant. And he's found another Arty. It's the M41 HMC this time. Who's aiming but not paying attention to his sixth sense. He takes one round, a low roll. And the KV1 gets the kill. There's one more Arty on the enemy team. It's an SU-14-1. He could still be down this end, but it's more likely he's in grid square A4. Oh, he is here. Okay, so he did drive all the way down. He's quite a big Arty. And there's the kill shot, and it's the KV1 again, and that means that he has ended up with a Pascucci's. The enemy ELC up on top of the cliff, and he's been wiped out by the Wolverine. There's only 3 enemies remaining. The Valiant is one of them. He's nearby. There's the KV1. He's the other one. And the last one is a T43, some distance away. Okay, the Valiant's the near guy. Now remember, he's got particularly strong armour. And he does take one shot from the Valiant. Takes aim, gets a round through. The Valiant's coming out to try and fight him. But unfortunately for the Valiant, that means he's got to fight the KV1 as well. He took another round from the Valiant, but he can get the kill shot. Oh, no he can't. The Valiant got him. But the Gorilla got the Valiant, and that wins the game. So let's have a look at the end of battle results for both games. And here's the end of battle results. In the first game in Studzianki, heavy999 got his first ace tanker in the ELC AMX biz. I almost said Evan 90 there, but it is the ELC AMX biz. He managed to get a 5 effect for doing more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle, a fighter badge for getting at least 4 kills. He ended up with 5, just one short of getting a top gun. If he killed the T-52, he would have got a top gun. He got an arsonist because he set fire to that KV2, watched him burn. He got a spotter badge for spotting at least 1,000 hit points damage. A master gunner for getting 5 armor penetrating shots in a row. A bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He managed to get 10 and he killed 3 Arty in the game. So he ended up with a Demetrius medal. That's an epic medal in that game. His win rate for the game was 14,131. A very good score indeed. Super Unicum standard. And let's have a look at the team score. Well, he didn't get the highest damage in the game. The IKV-103 managed to get the high caliber with 2,097 hit points, but remember, he bounced around off heavy999, and effectively that saved his life, because that was quite a big hit that bounced and hits the... I think it either bounced or it hit the tracks, but it certainly was a block shot from the IKV, the best player on the enemy team. And the next highest score was heavy999 with 1,881, followed by the M4A1 on his team with 1,401. When it came to kills, he had the highest number of those with 5 kills. 3 kills went to the T52, which included heavy999. He ended up with a patrol duty as well. And 2 kills went to the IKV-103 and, of course, to the M4A1 as well. When it came to base XP, well, he's got the top in that one for sure. 1,193, he's the only player to get over 1,000 base. 717 went to the M4A1, 685 went to the Super Chaffee. He fired 28 rounds in the first game, got 22 direct hits and 16 penetrations. Damage of 1,881 hit points, of which 314 were at more than 300 meters. He received 9 hits from the enemy, 6 of them penetrated, 3 non-penetrations, and block damage of 385 hit points in total. Spotted 3 enemy vehicles, damaged 7 of the enemy, killed 5, and did 1,693 hit points of spotting assist. On a premium account, he earned 46,352 credits, got 50,000 credits for the first win of the day, and that gave him 96,352 credits altogether. And after repair, ammunition, resupply and consumables, and yes, he did fire some premium rounds in that one, he ended up with 39,171 credits profit. He also earned 1,789 XP, got ×2 for the first victory, took away 3,579 experience points altogether. So a particularly good game with the 75mm armed AMX ELC, or ELC AMX, depending on your point of view. Let's have a look at the second battle and see how he did in that one. Well, in the second battle on Cliff, he also got an ace tanker. So that's 2 ace tankers, one after the other. The first one being the first ace tanker and this one being another one. And in this one, he managed to get a spotter badge again for getting at least 1,000 hit points of spotted damage in the battle. A fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle. A bruise the medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 8. And in this one, he got a patrol duty because he was the only one spotting at least 6 enemy vehicles whilst they were damaged. And a lot of those were the Arty, actually, because he went deep into enemy territory, found them, and then allowed his teammates to get kills on them. His win rate in this one was 9,691, so again, he's upholding a high standard in the AMX ELC. And if we look at the team score on this one, we can see that he did get the highest damage on his team, but not the highest damage overall. That went to the T43 on the enemy team with 1,487, but he didn't get a high caliber because he didn't get 20% of the enemy hit pool in total. But we can see that heavy999 did get 1,481, and of course he picked up that patrol duty. The next high scorer being the KV1, who got the Piscucci's and 1,197, and he got that Piscucci's courtesy of heavy999 finding the enemy, and he just got easy shots to take them out. When it came to kills, it was the KV1 who did the best with 3 kills. 2 of those were Arty. 2 kills went to heavy999, the M12, the Gorilla, and the Valiant on the enemy team. And one of those kills was, I'm afraid, heavy999. So yes, unfortunately, he did provide a kill for each of the tanks on the enemy team in both battles. And when it came to base XP, he was the only one over 1,000 yet again with 1,116. 726 went to the KV1, 706 went to the Valiant on his own team. In this game with a 90mm gun, he fired only 12 shots, but he got 9 direct hits and 8 penetrations. It has got decent penetration for the 90mm gun. It's just got a very long reload time because, of course, it's a very small turret and a very big shell to load into the gun. 1,481 hit points of damage, of which 459 were at more than 300 meters. He received 5 hits from the enemy in this one. 4 of them penetrated. 1 hit by way of splash damage as well, and 6 enemy vehicles were spotted, 6 enemy vehicles were damaged, and 2 were killed, and 1,908 hit points of spotting assist in that game. On a premium count again, he earned 45,293 credits, and after repair, ammunition, respawn, consumables, and I'm afraid, yes, he did have to blow those that premium repair kit in this game, and as well, yes, he did use some premium ammo, and that meant he actually ended up with a loss for the game of 32,353 credits, but he did earn 1,674 XP times 2 for the first victory and took away 3,348 experience points altogether. As he says, this was the ace with the big one, the big gun, and of course the previous game was with the small gun. So yes, you can do it. And he said this was a new tank as well, and I think this game took place on the 21st of January, and this one took place on the 22nd. So one day later, and he gets another ace with the big gun. Very well done by heavy999. I'm sure he's probably going up the AMX ELC route because he probably wants to get the wheeled vehicles. That's the gateway vehicle to get into the wheeled vehicles. You can't do it for any other vehicle, and so yes, he's mastering the AMX ELC, which is actually a fun tank. Actually, I find it's quite nice with the 75mm. I get much more damage with the 75 than I do with the 90mm, even though the 90mm one is a very good ambush gun on the enemy, and you can do a lot of damage, but the problem is, of course, that restricted arc of fire right at the front of the vehicle. It means that you have to position yourself well so that you can get a second shot off at the enemy without getting penetrated by them. I hope you enjoyed that replay. If you did, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.